Welcome to the Everything Podcast. I am your host,
Chuck Manatee.
And in today's episode, we are going to be doing a slight recap of Bridgerton seasons 1, 2, and 3, and then what to potentially expect from season 4. So this isn't something that I've watched specifically. This is something my wife has watched, and the sweetheart that she is, she wrote it all down for me to present and give to you guys who are fans of the show. So without any further ado, so we're going to cover all first 3 of the seasons, just a recap, and then we're going to go into, like I said, like a sort of what could potentially happen in season 4. So, without any further ado, let's get into it. So, with the first part of Bridgerton Season 4 having been released on the 29th of January 2026, and the second part coming soon on the 26th of February 2026, I thought it might be nice to do a somewhat brief recap of Bridgerton Seasons 1 to 3. So, Season 1, starting with the debut of Daphne Bridgerton, the introduction to the Bridgerton family and the Featherington family, the Queen, Lady Danbury, and Duke Simon Bassett. Queen Charlotte shows Daphne great pleasure for her appearance, which leads to Lady Whistledown naming Daphne as the season's diamond. Daphne's eldest brother, Lord Anthony Bridgerton, makes it seemingly difficult for any suitors to approach Daphne, leading her to making a deal with Duke Simon. A deal made after, not so gentlemanly, a deal made after another, not so gentlemanly than believed, tries to force himself on Daphne, saying they will be married. Simon tries to save her, but Daphne punches Nigel Burbrook. So as Daphne was in the garden, unchaperoned with 2 guys, Simon and Daphne make the deal to keep it secret, as well as pretend to court. So Daphne will get more suitors, and 2, Simon will stop being bothered by other mothers. Of course, as you can remember, they think they are fooling the Ton, but instead they fool themselves and continue to do so even after marriage. It was all just so crazy, and we could be here all day talking about it. So if you want to rewatch season 1 for the Daphne and Simon love story, I would definitely recommend it. So, just a reminder about the Whistledown drama from season 1. Eloise attempts to figure out the identity of Lady Whistledown. The Queen finds out about Eloise and tells Eloise to inform the Queen of any and all discoveries. Of course, with absolutely no luck on Eloise's side, the Queen employs watchmen of sorts to find her. And at the end of the season, Eloise and the watchmen almost catch Lady Whistledown. But as they were not on the same team, because Eloise wanted Whistledown to restore statuses and do good, and the Queen wanted to punish Whistledown, Eloise yells for Lady Whistledown to flee the scene so as not to get caught. It was revealed to the audience only that the one and only Lady Whistledown was none other than Penelope Featherington. So, now on to season 2. The Sharmas are in the town. I think that's Sharmas. Are in the town under Lady Danbury's wing, looking for a suitable husband for the youngest Sharma sister, Edwina Sharma. Edwina is deemed the season's diamond by Queen Charlotte. Anthony Bridgerton sets his gaze on Edwina, as this is the season he gets a wife, not with any help from Kate Sharma, because she was not happy with Anthony after running, or should I say riding into him in the woods on a secret morning ride. But Anthony isn't one to back down, so he persists and inevitably courts Edwina. Whilst at the Bridgerton country house, we learn that Edmund Bridgerton died from a bee sting, leaving the entire Bridgerton family in grief, especially their mother, Edmund's pregnant wife, Lady Violet Bridgerton, who became hysterical and went into early labor with the 8th Bridgerton child, Hyacinth Bridgerton, who luckily did make it and is very curious about the world. And again, We could be here all day with the Sharma and Anthony love story. So long story short, Anthony asks Edwina to marry him. Queen Charlotte hosts their wedding, which ultimately ends with no one married because Anthony and Kate Sharma are in love and with lots of denial. Way too much denial. After a very long denial and a long wait from the audience, we finally get the happy ending we want, when Kate and Anthony become engaged after realizing their feelings for each other. On to the Lady Whistledown news from season 2. So Eloise and Queen Charlotte are very much on the hunt to uncover Whistledown's true identity. Eloise involved with the, does that say printer's assistant? So yeah, not in that way. They become acquaintances to talk about topics not typically talked about, and Queen Charlotte hosts a diamond ball where she can keep a close eye on all the suspects. The Queen believes Eloise to be Whistledown, which leads to Penelope having to write very scandalous, remember the printer's assistant, things about Eloise. Penelope decides to put down her pen after having to write such horrible things which hurt her friend. After a while, Eloise decides to give up her search for Whistledown and talks to Penelope at the ball, where she realizes Penelope loves gossip and speaks in such a written way that she tears Penelope's room apart and finds out that Penelope is Lady Whistledown. So that was season 2. So now on to season 3, the season where Colin Bridgerton returns stoic and Penelope Featherington changes her wardrobe to be seen for once. It becomes obvious that Penelope is used to being a wallflower and is very awkward in conversation, so she enlists Colin to help improve her skills to find a husband. After that secret is revealed at a ball, Penelope is forced to write it in Whistledown, leading to Colin and Penelope keeping their distance from each other. However, Colin went to Penelope in secret the night of. So in secret. So the scandal, and Penelope asked Colin for a kiss as she thought she would die a spinster. Colin finally realizes he loves Penelope as more than a friend after their kiss, but he hides that. Penelope finds a suitor, Lord Debling, who is intent on finding a wife who has interests and hobbies, as his interests would lead him away for years at a time. That courtship ends after Lord Debling realizes Penelope loves Colin as more than a friend. It is only after that do we find out our most longed-for relationship begin, as we have seen Penelope long for Colin since season 1, and Colin being blind to that fact even after many others telling him, but he thought they meant his and Penelope's friendship. Here is where the storm begins. Queen Charlotte on the hunt for Whistledown, Eloise forcing Penelope to tell Colin the truth, Cressida Cowper coming out as Lady Whistledown, hoping to claim the Queen's reward for bringing Whistledown forward. And I'm sure you remember the rest of the story. So I would like to talk a little about the end of season 3 before my predictions of season 4. So Penelope did such a wonderful thing for her sisters by funding their ball, which turned out to be the place she would have to announce herself or stand trial in a way. So the Queen comes to confront Whistledown, saying that Whistledown had written to the Queen asking for mercy. So she calls Penelope forward and she gives her speech. The Queen accepts what Penelope has to offer and allows her to continue. And so the show ends with another Whistledown newspaper/letter. But this one was different. Whistledown ends and continues as Penelope Bridgerton. Now this confused me in a way of how would they possibly do more seasons without Whistledown? So yeah, sure, Penelope might still be there, but it could be completely different. The whole dynamic of the show would change, which apparently it has. So season 4 has teased to be a Cinderella type story with Benedict Bridgerton and a maid who sneaks into the Bridgerton masquerade ball. Now don't get me wrong, I've seen many Cinderella movies and loads have been great, but it is more of a standalone than an entire season of a popular series. This is meant to be loosely based off the books. So if this book is or was a Cinderella story, then great, but I highly doubt that. I've been avoiding spoilers like the plague. But I could not avoid some opinions posted by others. Lots of people are very disappointed in the Cinderella, quotes, Cinderella story, so I can only imagine that part 2 of season 4 will make or break this season, as season 5 and 6 have been greenlit, which scared me a bit, which scared me a bit, not because I do not love the Bridgerton series, but lately the only series with multiple seasons greenlit ahead of time have been a little bit terrible in my opinion. But I will remain optimistic when going into part 1 of season 4, so let me know in the comments below if you'd like a detailed breakdown or just a rough recap of season 4. So please do that. Let us know as well in the comments if you enjoyed today's episode, and please do show us some love by liking, sharing and subscribing. But that is it for today's episode of the Everything Podcast. Thanks to my missus for writing this for this episode. I do appreciate you, and I appreciate you guys for watching, so thank you for that. But that is it for today's episode of the Everything Podcast, and we will see you in the next one. Goodbye.